and welcome to another TECHunplugged Videocast. My name is Arjan Timmerman. I'm here together with Mortillaro. We're at Cisco Live in Barcelona, and we're at the Tech Field Day Extras. And always great to be in a Tech Field Day, right? I was at Storage Field Day last week, and now I'm at Tech Field Day in Barcelona. And always awesome to be there.
And in Barcelona, right?
Barcelona is always good. And a lot of information. So we talked with Cisco about Intersights. What were your thoughts about Intersights?
Well, Intersight is actually a very interesting take that or direction that Cisco took actually last year or a couple of years ago. So Intersight is kind of a management interface that Cisco has developed to manage data center infrastructure. So if I remember well, it was used to monitor HyperFlex, and we'll be talking about HyperFlex, the hyperconverged solution from Cisco a bit later in another video. It's managed. It's used also to manage UCS, and it's going to be gradually replacing UCS Manager. But what is really interesting looking at the history of Intersight is that what was a kind of a management tool, and we spoke about management interfaces in single panes of glass, they've gone the route of, I think, pretty much static interfaces to do basic management functions into adding more functionalities. And what we spoke today, or what we heard today, was about Intersight Workload Optimizer. So what were your thoughts on that, and what was it about?
So for me, the Intersight Workload Optimizer was actually, I thought it was a really cool tool. To be honest, I think that was one of the most, or one of those tools that I really never heard about, because it's just come out, but it really hooks into what's going on in the data center. What they told us is that you can hook everything that's in the data center, you can hook into it. I kind of thought about it as an AI ops tool, although if you think of it, most of the people will just use it, it's not just use it, but they will use it as a monitoring and capacity tool for their complete environment. And that is something that is really needed in the industry at the moment. We talked about it in an earlier video, and I think Workload Optimizer can really give the correct insights into the infrastructure from an operations perspective, but maybe you've got other ideas in it.
Yeah, so I'm always really opinionated. So for me, I see it more as a kind of capacity. So there's a part of it which is more about capacity planning, because they say that it's looking at the real-time state of the environment, so you can really parameterize thresholds. So it is more, let's say that what matters is the application perspective or the business perspective, which is I have certain thresholds or certain values which are critical to monitor my application. For example, it can be, of course, the time, and it's pretty clear, but you can have latency, response time. If you're running a website or a web-based e-commerce shop, then you want to make sure that response times are very short, loading time for your page and so on, so that your customer doesn't go away if the page isn't responsive enough. So first of all, you can set these thresholds and monitor that, and you can and the correlation also is that because it has a view on the underlying infrastructure, then Intersight is going to if there's a threshold which is met or a threshold which is hit, it's going to look and try to understand what's going on. Do we have contention on the CPU level? Do we have something going on at the storage level? Is there anything else weird or unusual, or very high traffic on the network and so on? And it's going to report on that. So that's the operational part, which is really about acting now to make sure that we fix the problem. And then there is this kind of sampling on a 10-minute basis, which is more about looking at long-term capacity issues and making recommendations in the same way as VROPs will be doing.
Yeah, I think so. So from that, I think we should call it quits, because there's so much more to tell about this tool, but also about other tools. So let's leave it with that. I think the people can watch the recordings from Tech Field Day probably tomorrow, or even the day after, and you can look at what Workload Optimizer really is and what Cisco is going to do with it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just going to make one last remark, and I'll try to be very short. I mean, for me, it's a great tool, but I wouldn't put it yet in the IOPS category, because for me, IOPS is not just the interface about solving what's there, but it brings on into IT service management, and it's about resolving the whole issue end to end, not just from the operational, but from the service management perspective. But it's maybe for another video, as you say.
I would say so.
And we wrote a paper on that, so check out our website, and you'll find that paper we wrote for MOOCsoft about a year ago. Thank you, and
thank you.
See you later.
See you.